We're into the final countdown, as it were, putting a lot of detail stuff.
Final countdown.
I knew you were going to do that.
Oh, that's bad.
Some final detail work here at Red Door on the alien encounter, as it has been kind of redubbed.
Actually, I think it's just encounter.
Just encounter.
Yeah.
There are no aliens. They're just. I got nothing. I was going to make a joke there, but it's going to be bad, so I stopped.
Yeah. Let's talk about alien immersion.
Lots of details. I've had a lot of fun with stencils and the alien language, some of which is necessary to solve puzzles, and a lot of the rest of which is just humorous for me, and that's really what I'm most concerned about. I don't really care about you or Mark or anyone for that matter.
I can hear the pause button getting hit.
We've got some sci-fi jokes in here, some of which are going to be relatively easy for you sci-fi nerds, some of which are going to be really obscure, because I felt like I got to find something for this reference, and I had to dig, and I found stuff.
There's little trivia Easter eggs. Yeah, they're Easter eggs. Because Easter eggs, we did the National Video Game Museum, and they were really tickled every time we put an Easter egg in something.
Yeah, it was chock-a-block,
blocks of chalk.
Chick-a-blick.
So in order to, remember Matt gave that speech when he was bleeding from the ears, and he said, there are no keys in space. So any information that we have to transmit to the player will take the form of some other form. So you don't have a paper clue. You have touch pads, or what do they call them? Just pads, P-A-D-D in Star Trek?
Maybe. I don't remember.
So we've
when
used
Star Trek predicted the iPhone or the little iPad mini, that's kind of what these are AirSats versions of.
So your information, your clues are actually done with an etched acrylic and ABS plastic device. So it's more sciencey because science.
I'm not sure which way's up anymore.
And I think that's the point. Our alien cargo, there's actually quite a bit of this. Alien cargo has, like, this is your no-touch.
We'll give you a close-up there.
Yeah.
We decided they have tentacles because it's funnier that way.
And let's see. Yeah, we'll get an insert shot of the top here because the crates are labeled with whatever the product is that they hold. Also, so this is just a regular little storage box, greebly over where the logo was. So again, using science as an opportunity to hide the crimes. And then what we've done here, let's actually tilt this forward. What we've done is we've made a cradle to hold our fuel cores, and that fits within this, yeah. So it looks like one of those Aliens of the Covenant things where they carry it. Okay.
Num Shivai. Sorry.
No, that movie does not exist.
It never happened?
No. So, how'd you make this cool thing?
I made this cool thing to hold, as you saw, this cool thing. And this is one of those rare things where I do the first one, and I'm a lot of odd routed parts, the things that aren't quite square, aren't quite perpendicular, and I kind of take my best guess at numbers, and I do it in the software, and I have the CNC cut it out, and it actually worked perfectly the first time. This is maybe the second time that has ever happened. There's usually, next to the CNC, there's just this stack of monument to failure.
I had actually said ABS plastic. This is PVC. This is aerated PVC. In black, cemented?
Yes.
This is cemented or solvent welded. We've talked about that before. And he's even got the contouring of the bottom of the container matched in this guy, and got it right on the first try.
So that it slots in nicely and it won't wiggle around in there.
So when you have to transport your fuel rods, bloop.
Like a so.
This is room 2 is now complete, as is room 3. We actually have a group that's about to come through, so we're going to have to evacuate the area immediately.
Just vent him out the airlock.
Here's some footage Here's some footage of room 3, which you haven't seen yet, which is, well, there's some buttons in there and some really cool sound effects. We can't tell you more about that game. We built, Matt built these little,
well, you'll see it in a minute. Rather than having to build more kind of furniture for the room, we just made some angled button mounts that would go directly on the wall, and all of our signal and power wires are running through EMT, which we can conveniently just run all over the walls, and there may be some EMT that doesn't even have anything in it.
There's a tree of electrical conduit across the ceiling, and here's the ceiling footage. You'll see that in a second. But we just took advantage of that and made it part of the game. And then we'll actually do a quick insert shot of what the mounts look like, because there's some extra lighting effects and stuff like that.
This is a corrugated 4-inch flex hose available in the garden place at your local home improvement store. It's, I think, 95 bucks or something like that for 100 feet. That's a lot, and it's a big hose. If you think about how much it would cost to get 100 feet of 4-inch PVC pipe, this is incredibly cheap when it comes to, as compared to the other. It's got a really cool detail too. It's not just a pipe, it has high spots and low spots on it. It's got this really cool corrugated bit, and it's flexible. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna snake this thing all over the ceiling, to give it sort of a jumbled, bizarre, alien look, and then we're going to age it. We're going to do some dry brushing on this to make it look like it's metal. The way we're going to snake this across our ceiling, I look like an idiot at a rave. The way we're going to snake this thing around itself may or may not be a clue. You'll have to figure that one out. But regardless of whether or not it's a clue, it's a really cool effect and a great way to, again, get rid of the square, make it not a room, make it not a box, make it something else. Spaceship. Now, what I'm doing to achieve this effect right now is I'm actually using an aluminum spray paint, because that's all I have available. We're on location. It would be just as easy or good to do this with a metallic latex. The more metallic, the better. Also, you can always buy aluminum powder and or silver pigment from an actual paint store and amplify whatever you buy off the shelf. So don't think that whatever paint you're given is as good as it gets. You can actually add more pigment to it and make it shinier. What I'm doing here, this is just a really quick thing, is spraying a little bit on a board, just a piece of scrap, running our brush in it, kind of softening it up, and then dry brushing. And what that does is it makes it, it gives it this Dr. Octopus kind of look, which I'm really happy about. And it doesn't have to be done all over the place. So what I could do is do it really heavy in one spot, and then just sort of fade that out. And I just spoke over myself doing this, and you probably couldn't hear any of it, but anyway, so it doesn't have to be uniform, but it should transition from one into the other. It shouldn't just be a splotch where it's really bright and then not somewhere else. The only time you would see something like that is where two hoses cross, and you want to accent the fact that maybe these hoses jump around and move under pressure, and they rub against each other, and that's why you have a scuff in a specific location. Otherwise, if we're trying to do just a general aging, because this ship has been repaired many times, then that will give us the effect we're looking for.
Here's a shot of the game as it's seen from the perspective of the game masters, and you can kind of get an idea of just how cool this thing looks. At some point, probably in the future, Red Door will come in and do an epoxy coating on this floor. This game, or these games, are actually pretty easy to remove, or to at least lift them off the ground and do an epoxy coating, which would give it a little bit more of a clean room kind of feel, which is the style of Spaceship we're going for.
Not polished concrete?
Not polished concrete. Here's something else. One of our regular subscriber guys who views us said, hey, why aren't you making it dirty? Why aren't we doing layer, layer, layer? We have some of that, and you'll see that in the tubing that we have running around here. But there's just different styles of spaceship. You have the very clean Imperial type spaceship. You have
for the Empire.
You have the used type of Millennium Falcon, where it looks like a cargo ship. Then you have the horror type alien, and actually lots of iterations or lots of steps in between. So there's so many different ways to do this. Red Door is a little bit averse to horror, so we went with the clean version.
We're going nice clean ship, not Event Horizon.
Exactly, and we will be doing in the future. I can't tell you exactly when, but in the future we will be doing other styles of spaceship for a completely different feel, look, and game. Because
we are, as Mark mentioned a moment ago, we have just begun the actual beta testing on this, so there will be some tweaks and some changes, and even just seeing one group of the public and the game masters going through some ways that we can communicate our ideas for these puzzles a little more clearly. With this one, the big challenge was we can't use any writing. We can't rely on, like in Lost Ruins, there is the Dr. Summerleaf's journal that has lots of hints and whatnot in it. This all had to be communicated visually with just straight graphic design and not any text. And we've seen what some groups are struggling with, and when I came up with the puzzle, I obviously know how it works, so I don't have to communicate that to myself anymore. So we have some other things we're going to do to make to add some better communication graphically with one or two of these, and we may be adding a puzzle or two where there's just room to do so, because we're going to get this chock full of cool.
Chock full of cool. Yeah, it's one group will come through and have no problem. They'll understand everything and breeze through the rooms, and other people are just a bit stumped. And it's a lot easier to make a game easy, or to take a more difficult game and just hint it up to make it easier, rather than to try and take an easy game and try and make it harder. That's the harder of the two.
Stay tuned. We are about to start working on a steampunk themed game for a different escape company down in Houston called Alternate Reality. I think they're technically in Katy, Texas, but we're going to call it Houston because it's a big city.
It's Houston-y. We are actually taking on clients, and we're probably going to be moving the shop. We will. I know a lot of people have asked us to shoot video of our shop, just to give them a shop tour and get an idea of what tools we use and how it's set up. We are probably going to be expanding the shop and moving. So we'll get our 3,000 square foot shop video shot and get that to you before we move, and then we'll probably show you some of that too, because we'll be building new tables and building new infrastructure for the new shop when that happens. And we have one more location that we're doing for Red Door immediately. We have a mobile game that we're doing for Red Door immediately. We have the Houston game, and I just got a call from the Netherlands, so we may be doing a shipping container.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of international clients who have been asking us to build stuff, so I think we're going to take on some of that. But
do I have to learn Dutch?
You don't know Dutch already?
9?
Wow, that's terrible. So anyway, lots of exciting stuff as we go forward into the future.
This is the present. Really cool. These are aliens.
Yeah,
it's the present.
Yeah,
it's not the future.
But it echoes really cool.
Oh.
Alien doesn't sound as good. So
okay. Future.
Future.
It works. It works. See you later.